So last time I was here, at the end of my talk, Diana brought up, because I believe we had been talking about freedoms at that time, and Diana Kern brought up, it's hard to feel free, it's hard to feel all these good things with what's going on around us. And I remember we talked about that and basically said, go back to truth with a capital T, right? And that's been sitting with me, I think that was September 7th, actually, and it's been sitting with me since then. So how do we handle our fears? And right now, the way things are going on in the country and around the globe and everything else, fear is a real emotion for a lot of us. So how do we go about handling that? So the title of my talk today is Dancing with Fear, which can have some different meanings. I definitely am one with 2 left feet. So dancing with fear is if I'm asked to slow dance with somebody that I have never danced with before, because I know that I'm going to be all over their feet and embarrass myself, because I don't dance very well. Or God forbid, I'm line dancing, and I'm going left, and everybody else is going right, and I take the whole line down with me, right? So that's one of the things. So dancing with fear. Fear gets a bad rap. Not all fear is bad. Not all fear is bad. I have a fear of fire. Anybody else around here fear fire a little bit? Yeah. When I was about 7 or 8 years old, the man that lived next door to us was down in his basement. We were in Louisville, Kentucky, and we had basements there. And he was in his basement. He had been painting the house, and he was right next to the water heater, cleaning his painting equipment with turpentine. I don't need to, yeah. And I still to this day have a vivid memory of Uncle Bernard coming, running out of the basement on fire. Because, you know, it got next to the pilot light, everything blew. And that's something that sticks with me. So I have a real fear of fire because I always am worried about it. And it's a rational fear. I don't worry to the extent that, oh my God. But I do have a fear of fire. So when I'm lighting if I have to light the stove because the pilot light went out, or lighting the gas fireplace, or we have a fire pit outside, I'm very, very careful and cautious about it because of that memory, because of what happened. So we have in our lives different kinds of fear. We have rational fears, right? I have a rational fear of fire. If I were walking in a seedy neighborhood down a dark alley at night, in an area that has a high crime rate, it's rational that I would be fearful of my own personal safety, right? That's a rational fear. I'm a rational person, I wouldn't do that, but it would be a rational fear. Now, some people are afraid of sharks, right? They have a fear of being attacked by a shark. Well, I come over from the West Coast, so people, you know.
Yeah.
So having a fear of sharks, if you're in the ocean all the time, is probably maybe a rational fear. But if you're in the shallow end of the community pool and you're still afraid of being attacked by a shark, I think we can call that an irrational fear,
I think so.
right? That's an irrational fear. And then you have your other irrational fears. I have a friend in San Diego that used to have to drive across the Coronado Bay Bridge to Coronado Island, which is actually not really an island, because before the bridge was built, there's this small isthmus called the Silver Strand, and you would have to drive all the way down and around and come across the strand to get to North Island, where the bases are, or the island itself. And my friend Debbie used to go, and she lived right by the bridge, but she would drive all the way down and around to get to the island. You know why? Because she had a fear that if she was on the bridge and there was an earthquake, the bridge would come toppling down and she'd die.
Oh,
now,
funny, yeah.
That's a little bit of an irrational fear.
Yeah.
But there are such things that I would call rationally irrational fears.
Yeah.
Some people don't like to get in an elevator because they're afraid the elevator is going to fall down. That's kind of, it's rational because things do misfunction, misfire a bit. But it's a little irrational because of all the safety mechanisms that are built in.
Right.
So if you get in the elevator by yourself and you're going to the 10th floor, and about the 2nd floor you start freezing up, you're allowing that fear to take over, right? Now, if you get in the elevator and it says the weight limit is 1,200 pounds and 4 guys get in that each weigh 300 pounds or 4, or 6 guys, 3, then it's rational fear. So you have to decide whether it's rational or irrational fear. In Matthew 25, verse 34, Jesus said, "This very night before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times." Do you know who he said that to? He said that to Peter. He said that to Peter. You will disown me 3 times. And Peter did. Why did Peter disown Jesus? Fear.
Right.
He had feared that he was going to be taken by the soldiers that he knew were coming for Jesus. That guilt by association. He was fearful for his own life. Jesus forgave him for that. He didn't hold that against him because he understood that fear doesn't mean weakness of spirit. It means being human. Jesus forgave Peter for being a little bit fearful at that point in time. But do we forgive ourselves for being fearful? Do we forgive ourselves as easily, or others, for being fearful? There's a Japanese proverb, fear is only as deep as the mind allows. That's really kind of profound. Fear is only as deep as the mind allows. What does our teaching in Unity teach us, or in any New Thought teaching for that matter? Our thoughts are our experiences, aren't they? When we feed fear, it grows. When you feed the fear, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. If we redirect our mind to spirit, no fear, with faith, fear loses its power. When you're fearful and you turn away from fear and turn into faith, into spirit, I guarantee you fear can't live in that existence because it sucks the air out of it. And you've got to remember, that's what we have to remember, is that fear is what we allow it to be. Now there are rational fears with that. You know, our mind gets to play tricks on us, right? And it's very easy to do that. I'm a breast cancer survivor. Every year I go in for a mammogram. Every year I take that slow, deep breath, and in the back of my mind is that little niggling going, what if?
Sure.
And actually today is November 2nd. Today is 8 years I've been cancer-free. So yeah, that's a great thing. But every time I go in, it's the same thing. Okay. And then I let myself dangle over that rabbit hole for a few seconds. But this is where the teaching has really come to me in a very, very strong way. And then I pull myself back and I say, and if there is something wrong, you'll take care of it. And if there isn't anything wrong, why are you going to lose sleep over it? So what's that old adage? If you're worried about something and you can do something about it, do something about it, right? And if you're worried about something over which you have absolutely no control, you gotta let it go. Because when you don't control it, when you can't control it, what happens? You allow it to control you. And then you get unhealthy, and you get uncomfortable, and not in a good way. Getting uncomfortable is sometimes a good thing. That's not a good thing. That's not the way we want to do that. We always have to remember to go back to spirit, go back to faith. Because the opposite of fear is faith, just like the opposite of hatred is love. The opposite of fear is faith. J.R.R. Tolkien, very famous author, said, "A man that flies from his fear may find that he has only taken a shortcut to meet it." When you fly from fear, you're only taking a shortcut to have it come right back at you. You know, if you're fearful of something and you get in the car and you drive to El Paso, and that fear is still there, when you get to El Paso, look in the rearview mirror. Fear's sitting in the back seat with you. It went all the way. It didn't go away just because you went away. It goes with you everywhere you go. Running from fear does not free us at all. Instead, I invite you to face it, to dance with it. And in doing so, discover the strength and courage of God's presence within us, within you. Dance with the fear. Keep your friends close, your enemies closer. If fear is your enemy, don't let it get out of sight. Dance with it, and then send it back to its seat. Dance with that fear. Worry born out of love is rational. We each have loved ones that we've worried about, right? And you worry about, oh my gosh, what ifs? The what ifs when I go for the mammogram. The what if you know you've got someone that's ill and they're getting testing done. The what ifs if you You're worried about finances, the what ifs. But when those what ifs become irrational, when you allow them to take over, then you're really going down the rabbit hole. That's irrational fear. And the idea is to be able to distinguish, is this fear rational or irrational? And if it's rational, then I can control it, because rational things are things that we can take over. Walking down a dark alley in a high crime rate neighborhood, it's rational not to do it. So then you don't have to have that fear of your personal safety. The rational fears are things that we can control. We can do things to control them and take them over. It's when they become irrational that we get a little bit crazy. It's irrational to care for those we love. It's rational to care for the ones we love. It's irrational to let fear create an outcome that doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Well, you know, like I can remember when my mom was sick and she was in the hospitals before she passed. And my sister was going down that rabbit hole because my sister's a nurse and mom had this septicemia, and Susie was like, well, if they didn't do this, if they didn't do that, you know. And I said, you're asking your fear of mom's condition to predict the outcome. It doesn't happen that way. It's irrational to get to that extent. It's rational to say, she's in the right place, everybody's doing the right thing that we can, and we'll just pray that whatever the outcome, it's right and perfect for her. And that's how we handle that. The pain and struggles that we often see, and this kind of speaks, Diana, to what we were talking about before, are the results of human choices. God's not in those choices. Misunderstanding, limited awareness, that is not God. They don't erase God's presence, but what they do is they show us where healing and love and faith is necessary. So I don't know if any of you watch the news. I try not to. We've been having to watch a little bit more because of the furlough, and Megan's been off work for over a month. So we watch for that purpose, but I don't otherwise watch the news, because no matter what they tell you, it's biased in some way, shape, or form, and they're trying to suck me in. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to control me with fear. Right? It's all controlled by fear. And so I've decided I control my fear. I'm not letting anyone else have that privilege. I'm not letting anybody move into my head rent-free, as they said, and control the dialogue or the monologue that goes on with me, because I just can't let that happen. It makes no sense to let that happen whatsoever. I brought a book with me today. I brought it in my book, in my bag,
Oh, cute.
Goodnight Moon. It's one of the first books my daddy ever read to me. And are any of you familiar with this story?
Yes. Lindsay always wanted it every night.
Goodnight Moon by Margery Wise Brown. It's the first book my dad ever read to me. Unfortunately, this isn't the book that he had. I wish I had that book. And in this book, the bunny is saying goodnight to everything and everybody. And this book, it's a child's book, but the story is very relevant to Dancing with Fear. In the great green room, there was a telephone and a red balloon and a picture of the cow jumping over the moon. And there were 3 little bears sitting on chairs, and 2 little kittens and a pair of mittens and a little toy house and a young mouse, and a comb and a brush and a bowl full of mush, and a quiet old lady who was whispering, hush. Good night room. Good night moon. Good night cow jumping over the moon. Good night light and the red balloon. Good night bears. Good night chairs. Good night kittens and good night mittens. Good night clocks and good night socks. Good night little house and good night mouse. Good night comb and good night brush. Good night nobody. Good night mush. And good night to the old lady whispering hush. Good night stars, good night air. Good night noises everywhere. How many of us have noises in our heads when we go to bed at night? The little mind monkeys that don't want to leave us alone, that constantly play with our brain when we're sleeping and you wake up and you've got that vivid picture in your mind of something that maybe you're fearful of. Or maybe you want to let go of, and it's hard to do that. Goodnight noises everywhere is allowing yourself to say goodnight and let the cosmos, let universe, let spirit take over and take over everything that's going on in your head that's bothering you. I saw that, I went to get a bag to put my stuff in to bring today, and I saw that bag and I went, oh my gosh. It's only a child's story, and it's the first one I ever remember. I have not met a baby that I gave a gift to that I didn't give the gift of that book every single time, because it's so meaningful to me. Goodnight noises everywhere. And it made me think, because every night before I come to speak here or speak in New Braunfels, wherever, I'm doing my talk in my head and I don't sleep as well as I should. And last night I saw that, and I gotta tell you, I had the best night's sleep last night ever, because I sat there and I read the book. I read it through a different child's eyes and said, okay, I'm going to let go of this. I'm going to let go and know that no matter what happens, it's perfect and right action. And especially, I don't know why I get nervous when I come to speak to anybody, because I never speak to a group of people that aren't loving and opening and welcoming. So if I flub the talk, you're still going to love me, right?
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, it doesn't matter. We're here to have, I'm not here to do a monologue. We kind of do more of a dialogue with this group, which I love. So dance with the fear. And when the fear starts to get even more intense, goodnight noises everywhere. Let it go. And when you let go, what do? Let go,
Let God.
let God. That's right. Let go, let God. So I've got some personal exploration. It's on the back of the pages that I gave you today. When you're faced with a fearful situation, ask yourself if it's rational or if it's an irrational or rational fear, and then approach it with the best method available to you. And I say the best method available to you because some people love to pray and meditate. Others not so much. It's not that they don't pray and meditate, it's just the way they handle things. Their prayer and meditation takes on a different form. I don't sit and do a meditation with my legs crossed, which you can't cross anyway, but I don't sit and do the Om type of thing. I sit in the yard pulling weeds. That's my meditation, because I'm out in nature and there's nobody around me, and I get to just make sure I'm not sitting on an ant mound. That's the only thing I got to worry about. And I get to do my dialogue with God at that time. That's meditation to me. That's praying to me. I have my regular prayers and I do my regular readings, but I've never been one to sit and do a 20, 30-minute meditation because I'm fidgety, I'm antsy. I never sit still that long. I'll even sit watching TV with my feet moving, with my legs up in a recliner and my feet moving. Connie and Megan just crack up. The next is, when faced with fear, ask yourself if you have the faith to overcome it. Do you have the faith to overcome that fear? And then move forward in prayer. If you have the faith to overcome it, you can. If you don't think you do, you still want to go into prayer, because that will give you the strength to push forward on that. And then the last one, as you face fears in life, allow yourself forgiveness for succumbing to your human side. After all, you can't escape that. We are divine beings having a human experience, and sometimes that human experience just slaps you upside your head. And what we have to do is get up, pull ourselves together, and go back to being human the best way we can, moving forward with it. Now, I did give a little page here. I don't even remember what I was looking for, and I came across this, and I thought this was so profound. When the going gets tough, when we've lost our motivation and feel unsure of everything, we need to wake ourselves up and remember. Number one, to trust the journey even when we do not understand it. And I don't know about you, but boy, there's so many times I'm not sure about the journey. I know I'm on it, but boy, is it taking me in twists and turns. And there's no GPS for that. It's just I have to stay on that path no matter where it takes me. So I have to trust it. Yes, Linda?
You know, I have
Sure.
had so many sounds in the house. There's no one in the house. It is an old house. So I will hear, of course, I have a tin roof. So, and it's surrounded by live oaks. So I will hear the acorns.
Acorns hitting the
And I
roof,
get
the sound,
that.
yeah.
But then I will hear what almost sounds like walking or squeaking or, so I just go turn it over. And I do sleep with my head under the sheet. So I just put it on a little tiny place I can look out, you know, but that's it. But then I'm just covered up and I just, you know, I'm getting better at blowing it off and just saying it's an old house, it's talking to me, ignore it.
Exactly.
You want to sleep now, so go to sleep.
Exactly. Number 2 is to accept what is, let go of what was, and have faith in the road ahead. So when I'm on this journey and it's taking twists, I have to have faith that it's taking me somewhere, and that somewhere is for my high is good. Even though I don't understand it, I have to have trust and faith in that. Number 3, to start exactly where we are, use what we have, and do what we can, one step at a time. You know, if you drive your car looking in the rearview mirror, you're going to crash. So you have to start where you are, look forward, and understand one step at a time is where I'm going to go. To look for the blessings hidden in every struggle we face and be willing to open our hearts and minds to them. That's a hard one. That's a hard one for us. You know, if we're facing struggles, to look at the blessing in it. I was reading this and I was talking to Megan and I said, you know, there is a blessing in your being furloughed. Thank God she's financially stable and she can handle it for some period of time. But the blessing is we get to spend more time with her. And we're getting to do some things together. So there is a blessing that we're spending time together and doing things, even though it's a struggle because she's not working. To recognize our backpack of support, our external sources of hope and motivation, before a random guru or someone with far more crooked intentions has to steal it from us so that we can finally see what we have always taken for granted. Ever had that happen? Somebody takes you on a little Ferris wheel ride and you think it's all for your good and it's not that good? Yeah, that's that random guru with crooked intentions. To be present and tap into our own hearts and minds, our internal sources of hope and motivation, which have the power to push us back on our feet and guide us down the road to our backpack of support, even when it appears to be lost forever. And we have those backpacks of support. What's in your backpack of support? Carol, what's in your backpack of support?
Mine? Oh, you're asking her.
No, ask her first. I gotta think about it.
Well, you have a goddaughter that I met.
Yes, that's right.
She's in your backpack of support, I'm sure. Your music.
Yes, well, music is my main backpack.
Yeah, and not just because it's how you earn your living, but because it inspires you. And that's very obvious by the lyrics we've heard that Carol has sung. Carol Johnson, what's in your backpack of support?
I have a big old sack full.
She's got a footlocker on her back.
This whole room of people right here and a lot of band friends
Yeah,
and my family, the other family.
yeah. Angie, what's in your backpack?
Friends and family is what comes to mind first of all, and pets.
Friends, family, pets. Sandy, how about you?
Beautiful music, listening to that.
Beautiful music, oh, I'm with you there.
And reading spiritual books and just knowing that this is here.
Reading spiritual books and knowing we have this spiritual family together. Diana, how about you?
Mother Nature.
Oh, speaking, you're singing to my heart. My Mother Nature is music to me as well.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I need.
Linda,
It's already been said, Mother Nature, music, friends, family.
big ditto.
Same thought.
Same, yeah, I think we all have that same thing. But we know that we do have this backpack of support, and we take it everywhere we go. And when we leave our backpack behind, all the things that are in it still carry with us. I don't think we ever really leave the backpack behind. I think it's important to know that. Number 7 is to laugh at the confusion. Live consciously in the moment and appreciate the lessons found at each twist and turn. I love that. Laugh at the confusion. And you know what? I do.
I do too.
And it's one of those, if I don't laugh, I'll cry. But But I do. I mean, I was relating before service today. I went on base with Megan on Friday to pick up her laptop. The irony is we took all the other things because they're demolitioning the area she's in, so they had to take everything home anyway. We get everything packed in the car, and we had to go to another building for something I needed. And luckily, while we were still on base, they called and said, Megan, is this laptop case yours? Because you left your computer. So the reason we went to base was to pick up the laptop. Luckily, we got that. But it was really funny because I was sitting there talking to this young woman who's married, 2 young kids, 5 and 3 years old. Her husband's the stay-at-home dad. She's the breadwinner. She's been impacted by not working. And when I got home and thought about it, I got emotional. I thought, this poor lady is worrying about where the next pile of groceries is coming from for her kids and her family. And that upset me. And then I turned on the news about something else with the voting going on, and I just cracked up laughing. I said, this is just
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I could do nothing but laugh. So laugh at the confusion. And it's not always that big of an issue that you laugh at. I don't know how many times I walked around my kitchen the other day. I was making Rice Krispie treats. Anybody ever made Rice Krispie treats? There are 3 ingredients: butter, Rice Krispies, and marshmallows. And I walked around my kitchen and in and out of the pantry, I know 5 times, looking for the recipe for the Rice Krispie treats so I got the right ratio. Guess what I was holding in my hand the whole time?
The recipe.
Talk about laughing at the confusion. And then my family walks in the room and said, what are you laughing at? I was laughing so hard I couldn't tell them. It was tears coming down my eyes like, oh, I can't believe this. So, they were very good Rice Krispie treats, by the way. Number 8, to not compare our progress with that of others. I can't emphasize this enough. You are you. Don't worry about being anybody else. I'm not going to be Carol Johnson or Carol Elliott. I'd love to be Carol Elliott on the music of it. But I'm not going to be any of you. You're not going to be me. You're not going to be each other. Be yourselves. Don't worry about it. Don't compare. And accept that we all need our own time to travel our own distance. And that's kind of hard sometimes when you're with someone who's not on the same speed that you're on, or not on the same lane that you're on. It could be your kids or your neighbors. With me, it's my sister right now. She and I don't see eye to eye on so many different things that when we talk, it's strained. And the other day I brought it up and I said, there's an elephant in the room. Let's just agree we're not going to talk about that, and talk about your grandkids, and talk about what's going on, and talk about the peppers we grew or whatever. We got to get past this hump.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, you have to be able to do that because there's just too many things going on that you're not going to agree with. That's where you agree not to agree to disagree, right?
Yeah, right.
To see how many things we never wanted or expected ultimately turn out to be what we needed. Oh, I hate that one. I hate that one. Because it's so true. I didn't want it, but boy, it turned out that's what I needed. And I had to admit, okay, yeah, that was good. It's bad enough to admit it to yourself, but if you have to admit it to your spouse, oh, that hurts. But I digress. To be okay with not ending up exactly where we intended to go, while opening ourselves up to the possibility of eventually arriving precisely in the right place at the right time. And I'll tell you a quick little story on that. When we first attended Unity in New Braunfels, for some reason we had it in our heads we were going to Center for Spiritual Living. So we kind of didn't end up exactly where we went to be. And yet it turned out to be exactly what we needed, and we ended up being home with where we were. But it was a little bit of a different thing. And coming as a minister from Centers for Spiritual Living and walk into Unity, which is a little bit different. We have a lot more Bible and Jesus in Unity than we did in Centers for Spiritual Living, which was great for Connie because she came up Church of Christ. Took a little bit for me to get used to because I was brought up Catholic, and it was like, had that hand up, don't do that to me. I'm not, PTSD here. But it turned out to be exactly where we needed to be. So, going back to the personal exploration, is it rational, is it irrational? Can I overcome it? I'm going to walk into prayer either way. And if I allow it to best me once or twice, it's okay, I'm human. And as it said here, I can just start right back where I was and take one step at a time and go forward. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to dance with that fear. I'm going to dance with the fear. So now I'd like to just go into prayer real quickly. So if you just get comfortable in your seats. And know with me that as we approach our fears, knowing that they are part of our journey. Fear is part of our journey that we're on, the spiritual journey, this path that we walk. And we now know what we need to do to take care of the fear. We step into faith, which will completely block the fear from being in our existence. And like Peter, we may falter. We may falter a bit with that. But when we do, we know that God's grace is always greater than our fear. The strength of God is in us, and it is always greater than our fear. We remember that fear is only as deep as our mind allows it to be, and we choose now to lift our thoughts to a higher plane, to a higher point of existence, and align ourselves with faith, love, and divine wisdom. And when fear does show up on our path, we will not run from it. We will face it head on, and instead we will dance with it, learning and growing and discovering the strength of spirit within us. And so with each step we are guided, with each breath we are supported, and in every moment we are free. And so it is. Amen. All right. So we're going to consider that as our prayer and meditation for the moment. And that's going to take us into our offering, our offertory. And if we say together the affirmation that we have here, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive. I give in love and I trust God. And let's bless this offering. Let's bless these gifts of love that support this ministry, this beautiful spiritual community, and everyone here. And so I know that as these gifts bless each of us, we bless them. As I release my word to the law of God, knowing it is made here and so now, and so it is. Amen. And now we're up for some carol music. Put this back up here.
All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, our Lord God made them all.
It's got a little love, I've got a little higher.
Each little flower that opens, each little bird that sings, God made their glowing colors, God made their tiny wings. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, the Lord God made them all. The purple-headed mountain, the river running by, the sunset and the morning that brightens up the sky. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, the Lord God made them all. The cold wind in the winter, the pleasant summer sun, the creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, the Lord God made them all.
Beautiful.
That's a pretty cool
Sweet,
song.
the sweet little song.
It is a very sweet song. I love it.